So in this episode of English for Engineers, we will be talking about how to write an email to a professor, and this applies for more than just an email to a professor, but to anybody really. So we'll just cover some basic difference between how Koreans tend to write emails and how English speakers tend to write emails, and I'm coming from a US perspective, so I'll give you my perspective on that. So here on the left we have a raw email, and this is from an example student. This is not my real student. This example student happens to have the same name as a famous League of Legends player. So let's read this email from our student. First of all, the subject is professor, and you can tell by the red wavy line that it's spelled a little bit wrong, and this comes out of the fact that Korean doesn't have an F sound. It's usually changed to a P, so that's a common mistake. So why don't we just go through linearly and kind of we'll improve the email over here. So here's our subject. First of all, this is spelled incorrectly. It should be an F, right? But one thing I want to say about the subject is putting just professor is not a very informative subject for me. So as I'm looking through my email, I see a subject. I'd like to know, here we're talking about a midterm exam, so you could rename it midterm exam conflict. Something like that, or something descriptive in the subject, so when I see it, I can have a sense for what it's about, not just that you're emailing me because I'm your professor. Okay? So put a descriptive subject in here. And our next, you do generally have a greeting. Here it's just hi professor. First of all, we want to make sure to capitalize our first greeting, our first word here, and generally we would use a comma instead of a period. So this is just the normal way of starting any greeting. Another comment I'll make here is that hi is a little bit more informal. You could use hello, would be a little bit more formal. Generally, relationship with professors are a little bit more formal. And here, using just the professor, I know in Korean we just say 교수님, but and sometimes in the U.S. people just use professor to address a professor, but I found that it's a little bit less personal, and I prefer when people, if they address me, they can use Professor Kim, because I'm not just any professor, I'm a specific person. So it's nice to use professor and then their last name, something like that. Okay, so making it a little bit specific, make sure that I know that you're specifically addressing this to me and not just all professors or some random professor. Okay, so next, one thing I want to say about the way that Koreans write emails is we usually put it like one line and then the next line and then the next line. This makes sense. I really like it personally, but in English we actually tend to put all the sentences together. So I'll do that as we transition, but let's start with the first sentence. So here I am 세형초 for taking introduction control. Some errors here. One, we want to put a period at the end. I am is okay, but we more commonly use this is instead of I am, or my name is fine. And this transition is a little bit weird. You wouldn't use for here. You would say, I would just say this is the name. So 세형초, I am taking your Intro to Control class. So now this is the first time you're contacting me. I know your name. I know that you're in my class. Great. Okay. And so next I have a problem with the midterm exam time. And here, instead of putting a new line, I'm going to continue it through the paragraph. So now we're actually generating a paragraph here. I have the problem here. It's the incorrect article. It would be a problem with the midterm exam, so I just put a space in there. Time, period. Okay. At that time, I go to participate in international competition. there is some minor errors here. At that time, this is okay. I will be, or just will at the time. There's multiple ways, of course, you could edit this, so I'm just kind of making one up on the fly. At that time, I will participate in, so just make sure to put the article in front of international, in international competition, such as a League of Legends competition, maybe. And he's adding, I am officially excused by school. Here, I am is okay, but I have been, to indicate that it was in the past. I have been officially excused by, and here we would just put the article, the school, so I know which school you go to. It's the same school that I'm teaching at, so that's clear. And so here we can put our last sentence, so can I take it at a different time? This is okay. Before I said in technical writing we don't want to use this. This is like a 그래서 or some sort of transition word. In an email it's more okay because this is informal writing. Just technically you should put a comma. So can I take it at a different time? And sometimes people put an extra space here. There's no space there. Okay. Please reply on question. This is not quite right. So please let me know. I usually just say, please let me know with a period, or you can say, please let me know your response, something like that. If it's urgent, you can say, as soon as possible, something like that. And then here we have a thank you. But this student did not sign their name, so it's very customary for you need to put your name at the end. You did say it here, but it's generally a practice to put your name at the end to kind of sign who you are. Also, you need a comma here. So we would say Young Cho, and then if you're actually Young Cho, you can use a nickname there, but you don't have to do that. So. And if you had any other information about yourself or something that you think would be important, oops, I don't want that line, you could put professional pro player, something like that, something other information if you want down there. You don't have to do that. So here is a revised version from our raw email to an improved email. So important things. Make sure to greet properly. I suggest using the actual name. Put something meaningful in the subject about the content of the email. Generally in English, we actually use paragraph form rather than individual lines, and just make sure to sign your name at the end. And that, if you follow those steps, your emails will be greatly improved, and I hope to look forward to great emails from all of my wonderful students. So that's the end of this video. Thank you.